Hey YouTubers, Hike with Mike here of course. It's New Year's Eve. I finished logging in my hiking log book that I keep, and I ended up with the magic number for me, 177 miles this year. Not as much as I've done in the past, and just about all of it was close by. I didn't do any mountain trips or anything like that, but that's okay. But the cool thing, what I love about having this, is not only just logging in the miles, but I write down the memories of each trip. And the first trip I went on in January was in the Green Swamp, and that was an awesome camp out with the hiking trio. We had a great time. That's when we saw two pairs of glowing eyes looking at us off of the trail that we knew were bears. So we walked away from there as cautiously as we could, because you never want to run when there's bears around. But it was a great trip, good time, so it was off to a great start. Another great trip is one that I bushwhacked with the swamp camper. We were out in the swamps, and he knew about a spring that was hidden in the middle of the woods, and we really bushcraft through there and got to this beautiful spring, in the middle of the woods. That was another great memory. I had a father-son camp out, which was awesome. And then I had another camp out this year, father, daughter, and son camp out too. And those are great camp outs. It's always good to introduce the wilderness to your kids. Went back to the Green Swamp several times. Saw a weird glowing object in the sky on one of the trips this year. So that was pretty cool. There's always something weird going on in the Green Swamp. Let's see here. I'm just looking at my journals here, and I highlighted some of the really neat stuff that happened on my jaunts this year, 2019. I was climbing a tree. I was looking at an old nest. I was just curious what the nesting materials were in this old nest, and I looked down, and there's a bunch of Florida Trail volunteers. They're like, "What are you doing up there?" So I had to tell them what was going on. So I met them, talked with them for a while, so that was kind of a cool experience out on the trail. That same day I found a whole bunch of carnivorous plants out in the swamp too, which was really cool. In the summertime I had a nice camp out with Swamp Camper, Good Medicine Camp. It rained most of the time. He made this awesome tarp that kept us dry. We spent most of the time under the tarp because it was like just a hurricane type of a downpour. So, but it was still a great time. Always a good time when you're in the woods. I did a couple of solo camp outs that I really enjoyed, where I had solitude, just me in the woods, nothing else. And I really enjoyed the past couple of times when I have used the flint and steel. I've been able to spark it and start it right with just like one or two strikes, which is cool. That's what happened on one of my trips this summer, and heard lots of coyotes howling all night long, which is always kind of a cool sound. Again, most of my trips were in Florida. I went to, every year I go to the, there's a gator hole where a mama gator nests every year. I always go and visit that. And I ran into a couple of people who also were keeping tabs on the gator's nest, and they were nice enough to let me know when the eggs hatched, and I quickly got out there to see all the little babies. So that was really a nice treat towards the end of the summer, seeing the babies. Just lots of really cool hikes. Again, I finally made it to Okefenokee Swamp, but I got sick. I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time there, but that was one of my few out-of-state trips that I made today. or this year, not today. But it was still a nice experience, and I'll definitely do it again. Let's see. And then I think I ended it pretty well with the my hiking trio, my buddies, camping out just a few days ago, having fun, having a good time in a beautiful location. So, as always, it's nice to have a hiking log to keep and a journal you can keep, because it's just filled with good memories. This book will be good memories. I can read this 10 years from now and just smile, and it'll give me good memories too. So I highly recommend that you keep a journal of where you hiked, how many miles you hiked, and the great experiences that you had. And I'm looking forward to hiking a lot in 2020, and I hope y'all do the same thing. Lots of hiking, lots of fun, being in the woods, because that's always good medicine. And everyone, Happy New Year in the 2020 year. A new decade, new trails to hike, and that's always good medicine.